What's up, Reefers? DC here. I got high phosphates. I've always had high phosphates. So, let me tell you about my tank a little bit here. Okay, it's a 150 gallon mixed reef. Total water volume 180, 185 if you include my sump and my frag setup that's all plumbed into the same thing. The reason I'm making this video is because I'm not really sure why I cannot keep my phosphates lower than, well, too effing high. I mean, this tank is 3.5 years old. I have dosed everything to this tank in an effort to reduce phosphates with success. I've dosed lanthanum, GFO, water changes, the phos pads. For the most part, all of those water changes, if I didn't mention that, most of those items work. They do reduce the phosphates. But my problem is not just reducing them and then going back in a few more months and reducing them again. I am trying to figure out how I can permanently keep them maintained at the levels that I want. Probably about 2 weeks ago, I tested this tank. Here, let me put this orange filter on so we can go look at the tank up close here. There may be a little side, okay. It bothers me whenever I'm trying to watch good videos from smart people and they go to show you their tank and then all of a sudden they get up close and it's a big blue blob. But anyway, what's the problem here? Phosphates, for me, go away with treatment and then they come right back. When I tested this tank, 2 weeks ago, like I said, my phosphates were off the chart. I mean, they were the deepest blue. I used a, Tropic Marine test kit. Then I also verified it with a Saliford kit on the phosphate readings, and I was between 1 ppm and 3 ppm. That's not 0.1 or 0.3. I'm talking 3.0, 1.0 range, 1.0-3.0 range, high, really high phosphate. But yet my tank, you can kind of see through to my fish room back there, but my tank is fine, So I mean, some people will say, oh, well, just leave it. If your tank's happy, leave it alone. I agree. Okay, that's why I haven't really chased the phosphates. I just kind of let it be what it is. I fed what I wanted to feed. Big dose of vitamins, big dose of pellets, big dose of frozen food, small doses. But I think I'm ready to take that next step to try to maintain a stable phosphate level. So, excuse me. With that being said, let me show you what I have been doing and what I'm going to do. Welcome to my fish room, okay? There's the back of the tank. As you can see, my sump, frag tank, that whole setup there is all plumbed. These two tanks plumbed together. I don't have a problem growing SPS. I don't have a problem growing it at all, in my opinion, given the high nitrate levels of around 40 and the high phosphate levels between 1 and 3, okay, which is also very confusing to me. People say, oh, you're not, high phosphate levels that high, you probably ain't growing crap. Well, I agree with you, but I am growing crap, and it's a mystery. So, what do I feed this tank? I feed this tank a mixture of pellets and frozen food, okay? Golly, I've used a variety of pellets. I've used a variety of fish food, frozen foods, but over the past year, I've been kind of more focused on staying with the same thing. So here's what I've been doing. Take this filter off. See that? Just everything gets blue. I finally got my phosphates down using, let me get it here, using lanthanum chloride. Okay, I don't fear it. I've not been burned by it. I think it's safe to use. I've seen no ill effects on my tank. And my tank, not yours, mine. I dose that lanthanum at probably the dose of 50 mLs. You know, it's a big dose, but I have no ill effects on it. But dosing that lanthanum, I got my phosphate level in my reef tank down to 0.07. That's kind of where I want to be. I don't know. I like that number. It's enough phos, but it's not too much. You'll see my Fowler tank reading there again. It was also high, 1.0, but I'm not going to focus on the Fowler tank. It's a 220, runs copper. It's kind of just like a giant quarantine tank. I'm going to keep feeding them pellets and everything. There's no algae in there, so it's not going to be a reef tank, so I'm not worried about it. But there's my current levels as of today. Now, what I'm going to do as far as feeding is concerned, I'm going to stop feeding these pellets. What those pellets consist of is PE mysis pellets and Ocean Nutrition veggie pellets. I don't have the box. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I use those because they're supposed to be the lowest phosphate containing pellet out there. I'm not going to get into detail about that. I don't write the articles. I just trust it. Now, but what's unique about these pellets and what I like to feed these pellets is I believe in the aspirin a day theory. I like to give my pellets a good soaking, sorry about the fingers out, a good soaking in vitamin C, vitamin M, and I also like to mix in Metroplex and Canoplex along with some Focus to bind all of that into the pellets. I believe in an aspirin a day theory. You know, are my fish sick? Why are you dosing it? You know, why do you take an aspirin a day to prevent a heart attack? It's preventative. It's nothing more. So, you know, I don't want to debate that. It's my method. I like it. So that's what I dose or feed my reef tank, along with PE mysis and reef frenzy. How much do I feed? Don't know. When do I feed? It's random. How much of the pellets do I feed? Don't know. I just kind of get me a pinch, toss it in there. So I'm going to assume and I'm going to apply a real exact approach to feeding if feeding is the key. So what I'm going to do to reduce the phosphates in my tank to see if it's truly a contributing factor is I'm going to remove those pellets. I'm going to start feeding half of a shrimp a day and some PE mysis shrimp probably in the evening. I'm going to wash these out, wash all the water off of them, and then I'm actually probably going to weigh them out and put them in my little frozen container holder here, so maybe a few grams each day. I'm going to get real exact about this feeding to see if it will contribute to the reduction of phosphates. I'm also going to stop dosing lanthanum. Okay, so we'll see if these phosphates climb. Now, in addition to only going to shrimp and frozen PE mysis, I'm also going to dose some waste away. Don't know if it's the best, don't know if it's the worst. I've seen it, I like it, I trust it. I'm going to try it. And the reason I'm going to try this is because I haven't dosed any kind of sludge cleaner to my tank since it was born. So I've never dosed any. Yeah, I mean, it's probably dirty in there. We will see if cleaning up the sludge will assist. So in summary, what I'm going to do to reduce the phosphates in my tank, I'm going to stop feeding pellets, switching over to frozen mysis and whole raw shrimp, and I'm going to dose some sludge cleaner to get whatever's out there. And I'm going to see if in 30 days if my phosphates climb. So what happens in 30 days if my phosphates climb? I don't know. I don't know. You tell me, because that means the phosphates coming from the shrimp and the mysis. It can't be a lot. It's fresh food. It can't be a lot. So that would lead me to believe that maybe there's so much phos in this tank that my rock work is leaching it out, and my sand has got it filled up. You know, because like I said, I've never cleaned this tank in 3.5 years. Never vacuumed the sand bed in 3.5 years. It's a pretty deep sand bed, you can see. And you know, I mean, I get my scrape sorry about the blue, but you know, the sand bed's dirty. I think it is. So we'll see what those do. You know, if it doesn't, if my phosphates don't change and they climb, that'll be a whole nother topic. I don't know what to do next after cutting all of this out and putting a real hardcore effort. I was considering doing, like I said, this lanthanum drip. You know, I mean, we all don't have enough dosing, right? I mean, you know, auto dosing, you know. But I was thinking about adding a lanthanum drip to my dosing regimen: calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, kelp washer, part C, and then a lanthanum drip. But that's my last resort. But that's it. Oh, wait, one last question for you. Do you have any suggestions on how I can get my vitamins, let me see here, my vitamins and my aspirin a day into my frozen foods? I've tried it before, and the frozen foods, fresh foods, live foods don't soak it up like it does with pellets. So am I wasting my vitamins by trying to get it to absorb into the fresh food? I'd like some ideas on how to get my vitamins and my aspirin a day into my reef tanks. I don't like stopping it for 30 days, but I don't want to just dose it free floating in the water. I just, you know, a lot of it goes into overflow. You know, psychologically I'm thinking, and I feel like I waste it. So any advice on how to get my vitamins and aspirins into my frozen foods, I would appreciate it. But that's it, guys. I'll check back with you in 30 days. Later.